Hello and welcome to the Edges of Earth. My name is Brock, and I have quite the story to tell you. You have to watch to the end though, because it's going to be pretty long and pretty deep, and it's just one of the craziest travel experiences I've ever had in 2.5 years of non-stop travel. Let's begin. My journey began in India, where I was in the middle of nowhere in Bihar. My train was supposed to leave at 9 o'clock at night and arrive at about 8 o'clock the next morning. Well, my train did not come until 3 hours late, so I stood outside in the really cold temperature for 3 hours waiting for my train to come. My train came, I got on with a general ticket, but unlike every other train I've been on in India, this one was fully booked. And when I say fully booked, I mean fully booked. Every single car that I walked into, there was multiple people sitting on each seat and each bed. There was absolutely nowhere to go. Not only that, the floors were covered with people and I could hardly walk. And then plus, I was carrying my 2 big bags. It was just unbelievable. So the only thing that I could do was sleep on the floor. The only spot available on one car was in between 2 bathrooms, and the smell was just beyond your wildest dreams. So I stayed there for about 6 hours until the morning. I woke up countless times from people going in and out of the bathroom or the bumps of the train. The next morning, I woke up to someone kicking me, trying to open up the door that was behind me. I stood up really fast to let him in. He realized that the door was locked with the bolt locks on the floor. He couldn't get through. He was just a tea vendor. Anyway, so I woke up for nothing. About 5 minutes later, a ticket collector came and he says, where's your ticket? And I said, thank God you're here. I've been searching for you forever. So I showed him my ticket and he says, come with me, I'll give you a seat. So at this point, I'm expecting to pay the difference between the general ticket and the sleeper class. But he was just like, no, come with me. He was so kind, so friendly, so generous. He just says, here, have a seat. Goodbye, have a good day. And that was it. I never had to pay anything additional. And from what I understand, that class should have been like 1,500 or 2,000 rupees. For the general ticket, I think I paid 190. So I got all the way to Kolkata for less than 200 rupees, which is insane. I arrived in the early afternoon and I tried to get all of my documents prepared and everything for Bangladesh, and I just couldn't get it done in time because it's very difficult in Calcutta to get all of the documents that I needed prepared. It was just long story there, but very difficult. So anyway, I was too tired, only on 3 hours of sleep that night, so I decided to stay another day and prepare all of my documents the next day. So I did that. So the following morning, this is where the adventure to Bangladesh begins. The following morning, I wake up at 5 a.m. I take a taxi from my hotel to the train station. I wait for an hour before the train comes. I get on the train, I go for another 2 hours. From that train, I hired a rickshaw driver to take me to the border. I then entered the border in a very hectic, chaotic border crossing between India and Bangladesh. However, it was pretty organized going into it. The appearance is just mind-boggling and chaotic, but everyone was able to help me and tell me which way I needed to go, so that was very helpful. I got to the Bangladeshi customs, and that was almost a 2-hour process from start to finish, and it was an interesting ordeal. I'm a foreigner. Apparently they don't see foreigners very often, and I was constantly escorted to different rooms and talking to different people. They were very specific about why I was there and what job I had. It was very interesting getting across, but I made it through, and at the very end he shook my hand. He says, welcome to Bangladesh, and I was on my way. I walked to the bus station, which was the 30-second walk from the border, and when I got there I said, do you guys have buses that go to Dhaka? And they said, yes, in fact it's leaving like right now, so do you want a ticket? And I said, yes. So I got on the bus and I asked him, how long does it take to get there? And he says, 6 hours. I said, oh, great. Well, it sure didn't take 6 hours, because I left at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I arrived at about midnight in Dhaka. So the entire time I was on that bus, and it was a very long and bumpy road through beautiful country, so many small villages I could see along the way, but I was not expecting that journey to be so long. Mind you, I did not have any time to stop and eat breakfast, nor did I stop to have lunch. We did stop, but the food wasn't something that really looked very appetizing to me, so I skipped that, and then obviously dinner rolled past, and I hadn't had dinner. So basically, the first thing I did when I arrived was to go to a restaurant, and I ate rice and chicken, and I asked if they had Wi-Fi, because I haven't been connected to the internet in maybe 13 hours or so since before I crossed the border. And so he says, no, we don't have internet, no Wi-Fi. So I thought, oh my God. So I was looking for a coffee shop after. They didn't have. My biggest concern was to go to a hotel. I didn't anticipate that the journey would take so long, so I thought I would arrive in the daylight, have plenty of time to find any hotel anywhere. But it was not the case. All the hotels were closed, the doors were locked. I had to ring the bell of many of the hotels. Nobody would come to the door, and there was only one hotel that was open. That hotel was quite expensive, and so I said, no, I'm not going to pay that price. That's just kind of crazy. It's one of the nicer hotels in the area. That was the first hotel that I stopped at, and then I continued to walk for almost an hour and a half around the city with my bags. So I couldn't find anything for the longest time. I'm getting quite tired. I haven't had a lot of sleep. This is a long journey, and the people on the street are becoming less and less. It's getting sketchier and sketchier, and it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm walking down a road that's turning a bit rough, and a man on the streets who's sweeping the streets stops me and speaks in great English. He says, "Hey, what are you looking for?" or something like that. And I said, I'm looking for a hotel. He says, okay, well, there's one over there by this name. I said, yeah, I was there, but the gate's closed. I can't get in. He says, he says, yeah, there's not a lot of hotels that are open at this hour. I thought, great. I said, well, I'm about ready to sleep here on the street because I'm at wit's end right now. I'm just about done with today. This has been a long journey. And he says, oh, no, don't do that. He says, this is a very dangerous area. You should not be here, especially with the bags and you as a foreigner. I thought, great. So I'm in the wrong area carrying $4,500 worth of equipment in my bag. He says, you shouldn't be here. But he was really kind. He says, well, what we can do, he says, I don't know how to help. He says, I have to continue working. I can't, and then he says, well, we could ask the police. Just as he said that, a police vehicle was driving by, and he just waves his hand and like shouts at this police officer. And the police officer stops. We go up to him, and he kind of explains everything in the local language, and he says, oh, okay, well, hop in. I'll try to help. I know of a couple places in the area, and we can go to them. So we go to one, there's no space. We go to another, it's closed. We go to a third, which is one that I went to already and rang the bell. They rang the bell 25 times, and nobody's answering the door. So then he says, there's one more across the street, which is where I hoped you didn't want to go, because this is the first one that I went to that was very, very expensive. And I tried to say I went there already, but his English was a bit choppy. So he says, nope, let me try. He says, maybe if they see a police officer, it will be a different price. I thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna get so weird. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll just pay the crazy expensive price for the area and be on with the night. It would be the most expensive night I've ever stayed in a hotel since I've been traveling for almost three years. But I thought, I guess I have no choice. So we walk in there, all three of us together. By the way, the police are carrying a sawed-off shotgun everywhere that we walk together, which is a bit intimidating, but it was cool. And they start talking and talking and talking, and their voices start getting higher and higher, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is getting so weird. I feel awkward. And the man points across the street to where he pointed earlier, because he was trying to help me and saying, go to the cheaper place. And so he marches across the street. We all four walk over there, and he starts ringing, shouting inside the building, screaming to get their attention, ringing the doorbell 1,000 times. Nobody comes down the steps. So he says, I don't know. So then the police officer starts to talk with him more, and then they start to raise their voices again, and it gets so weird. And then he says, what do you think about 1,000? If you paid 1,000 taka, is that okay? And I thought, hell yes. At this point, yes please. I'm happy to pay that. Everything is great. Okay, cool. So the police hop back in their vehicle and say, have a good night. And I said, thank you so much. And they left. They were so helpful. And then I go up to the hotel, and I thought there's gonna be this awkwardness, like first if it was really expensive and now it's only 1,000. Anyway, so he escorted me all the way up to the room, showed me a room. I'm in the room. This is one of the nicer hotels in the area, but there's apparently an area on the 10th floor that's really not very finished, so he brought me there. I was so excited to get on Wi-Fi because I need to tell people that I'm alive, because I think there's people right now who are extremely concerned, especially crossing the border, and I haven't responded in more than 15 hours. And I get up here and he says, yeah, we don't have Wi-Fi. Oh my God. Great. So, as of right now, it's been about 15 hours since I've updated anything on the internet, and I know there's a few people who are incredibly concerned right now, and I have no way of communicating to them, absolutely no way. And on top of that, I have travel plans with upcoming people in the area to go shooting tomorrow, and I can't communicate to them, and we're supposed to get up early to go tomorrow, and I haven't been in touch with them for 15 hours because I don't have a SIM card. So this whole thing is becoming so deep, so crazy, so frustrating. So anyway, tomorrow morning I have to get up really early, fly through the shower really quick, and then go to a coffee shop and find some internet. I'm hoping I can find internet somewhere because this is becoming just so much, and contact the man who I'm supposed to meet with and go from there. So right now it is 2:05 a.m. and I'm thinking about setting my alarm for 6, and I want to be out the door at 7 o'clock so I can find internet and get back on track. I don't know how much sleep I've had in the last 48 hours, but it is not a lot. I am dead. I'm just dead. So anyway, that is my crazy story of getting to Dhaka, Bangladesh. I've been wanting to come here for more than a year, maybe closer to 2 years, and I'm finally here, so I'm excited. I have some pretty cool things planned ahead, but yeah, it was a journey to get here for sure. I thank all of the kind people I've met so far in Bangladesh. Everyone has been so far over the top friendly and helpful. Every single person I've met, every single person has tried to help me, and they've gone so far out of their way to help me. So amazing. I hope that's how the travels continue to go while I'm here in this country. Anyway, this is a long video. I'm gonna sign off. I really need to sleep. So good morning and welcome to the streets of Dhaka. I actually have had quite the unique experience in the last, I don't know, maybe 12 hours in this country. And I exited the hotel this morning. I went to find a coffee shop, which proved to be very difficult just to find internet. Anyway, I found one place where a man does not have internet, but he says, wait for a moment. He runs across the street, he recharges his phone data, and then broadcasts it to my phone, where I could answer about 10,000 different messages that came through in the last 24 hours. So the guy went so far out of his way. I was at the coffee shop, so I ordered tea and I ordered a sandwich for breakfast. Finished after about 1 hour, and I was talking to him about a SIM. I need to get a SIM card. He says, oh, don't worry, I have an old SIM in my phone that I haven't used in a long time because he has dual SIM. So he says, here, take this one. And then he helped me, he walked across the street and helped me load data onto the old SIM card. So now I have a SIM that will last me in Bangladesh for 1 month. And then as I'm getting ready to leave, I said, oh my God, here, please take this money. And he legitimately did not want me to give him any money, not only for the SIM card, but also for the food and the drink, which it was a expensive place. And he's like, no, 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 no money, you are my guest, please, please take this. And I just can't wrap my mind around this. So friendly, so warm, so welcoming. I mean, I've done nothing and he is just helping me. So anyway, awesome people of Dhaka.